The iSuccess Business Academy is founded on the iSuccess framework I created to help my business growth work with clients. Over the years, people have asked me, what is iSuccess? What does the I stand for? What does success look like? Is it something I can use in my business? So as promised in my New Year's Day episode, I wanted to take this opportunity to explain iSuccess and its 7 dimensions, the origin, what it means to me personally, how it works, and how it can benefit you as a business owner. I'm excited for you to see how you can use it to get super clear on your best moves for 2021. Come on in. Welcome to the Leverage Business Podcast, where we believe business success is about working smarter, not harder. Leveraging your time and expertise in ways that fit the digital age you and your clients live in today. I'm your host, Jay Allison, author of Leverage Consulting in the Digital Age and founder of the iSuccess Business Academy. And every week I'll be sharing insights into how you can apply the power of leverage to grow your consulting, coaching, or other expert services business and create true freedom and independent success with mindset, marketing, and money model breakthroughs. Because when you get leveraged, the sky's the limit. Let's go for it. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Leverage Business Podcast. If you're new with us, let me say I'm so thrilled to be sharing this episode with you as we progress into 2021 with all our hopes and dreams and trepidations. The number of posts on social media and crazy videos and GIFs are all around us, and it's clear we're all waiting for 2021 to be a colossal improvement on the challenges, frustration, and confusion of the year we left behind. I'm your host, Jay Allison, and as I promised in the New Year's Day episode, today I'm going to be saying more about iSuccess as a framework you can use to improve your business performance and to grow and scale. I hope our first couple of episodes this year so far have helped you see what success takes and how you can leverage your expertise, get visible, and get clients with ease, grace, and a little bit of clever strategic planning. I often talk about leveraging you in terms of how you build your brand, your authority, and your expert system, and position yourself in an increasingly crowded marketplace. We kicked off 2021 on the 1st of January with an off-the-cuff webinar as a podcast to share my business journey, including some leaps of faith and channel shifts that have made a huge difference to accelerating my visibility goals for 2020. Now, this year, it's time to move things to the next level, and I want to bring people on this journey with me. So let's start out with looking at why process mapping your expert system is a superpower move. 2 years ago, I packaged up my expert business accelerator model into a framework I called iSuccess. In my book, I listed a whole table of words that pack into that one little letter I. It's not just one thing. So I'd like to unpack that a little bit, but also to share with you the iSuccess model and how it underpins everything we do in the iSuccess Business Academy. Now, I always ask my guest experts at the end of our interview, if you had one superpower you could use to create leverage in your business, what would it be? So if I had to answer that question myself, my superpower would be, and is, to help people clarify, package, and scale a core offer based on their expert system. How you help your client is a process, your expert system, and it's a way to package and present a signature kind of program as your method for getting people results. Think about the steps you go through with a new client and map them out. Unless you're just using an industry standard methodology, your expert system is always going to be unique to you, which immediately distinguishes you from your competitors. Superb! That's what we want, right? So it's a great start for how you market yourself. Now, I really want to emphasize this. Creating an expert system is an idea you should take on board as soon as you can. It actually took me a couple of years to realize I already had an expert system that worked brilliantly for my clients. I just needed to package it and promote it more blatantly. In my consulting practice, I was intuitively mapping out a process in my head because what I found working with clients is that at the start, they had a misconceived idea of the fundamentals. They only knew the symptoms of their problem and did not understand the root causes to see why a solution is a solution. My core offer, the Leverage Business Accelerator, is a digital roadmap program based on this iSuccess framework. It's what I use with my business mentoring clients and even when working with non-profit organizations in my consulting projects. So it's tried and tested and it delivers real tangible results. I've revamped the program to work with solo practitioners and we kick off in January. More on that later. So iSuccess is not only a representation of my vision and values for business success, it's also my expert system and the curriculum for all the courses and resources to support my clients inside the iSuccess Business Academy. In designing an expert signature program, you're forced to pin down what it is you uniquely deliver, to map out the process of how you achieve that specific result, and then package it within a structured program. And this is how you then have an opportunity to scale the delivery of what you do. Okay, that's one part of why I created iSuccess as a proprietary methodology for how I work with my clients that's uniquely mine. But what about the name? I'm frequently asked how I came up with it and how it links to my core concept of creating leverage in business. Well, it starts with why, and that's the title of a great book by Simon Sinek, by the way. Let me talk a little bit about how naming your expert system is a breakthrough move. Now, whether I'm working with an organization, a team, or an individual business owner, after our initial conversation about context and goals, my first question is always this: what would success look like to you? With my startup businesses, I always focused on success, not only the end goal, but what it takes to get there, what success means to them, what personal attributes help achieve success, what are the major milestones along the way, and how do we measure success when it's not all about numbers, but also about feelings and fulfillment and work-life balance. First, I'd argue that those who are successful with a service business have usually understood the need to put themselves as individuals into the equation. So there's one I right off the bat. Quoting Tony Robbins, he said, "Extraordinary accomplishment can result in failure if you feel no joy, self-acceptance, or a sense of meaning." While we're often driven by external notions of success, the actualization of it is very individual. It's about you, what you give, and what you want. Independent client-focused businesses are more often than not driven by very personal ambitions. For the consulting services provider, I'd argue that authenticity, expertise, and enthusiasm are all prerequisites for success. You'll notice that only 1 out of the 3 is about your professional know-how. For many of us, a client business is not just a job where we get hired to do something. It's a representation of who we are and what we stand for. This is why I devoted a whole chapter in my book, Leverage Consulting, to leveraging you. It's important to me we don't lose sight of ourselves as individuals in the building and running of our business. So individual is at least one of the I's you can put into iSuccess. Originally, when I coined the term iSuccess, the intention was simply to bring together success principles for the individual with the practicalities and power of the internet to create a digital platform and system to support marketing and sales. However, as I began to work with clients from all kinds of industries, I realized the I goes way beyond those 2 terms, as the table that I included in my book illustrates. Now, this is a table with 3 columns and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 I words in each column. So that's 30 different words, and I was just getting started. So things like I, you as the CEO, individual we've mentioned, internet we've mentioned, but also identity, ideas, influence, insights, ideals, invigorate, integrity, innovate, improve, in service, inspiration, invaluable, irresistible, information, initiate, ingenious, integration, ignite, introvert, implementation, illuminate, independent, inducive, intrigue, intuitive, impact, and income. Now, you will have heard the last 2 quite often when people talk about increasing your influence, impact, and income. But I mean, the I is just really an idea that a lot of things have grown out of there. But I love how holistic, comprehensive and significant it's become when you look to designing a business that achieves success, whatever that means to you, professionally, personally and financially. Is it wealth? Is it freedom? Or is it impact? Or more likely, it's some special blend of several success indicators. I'm sure you'll discover there are some common themes in how you think about and talk about what you do. Can you come up with a unique set of words for the why, what and how of your business mission? So enough about the I's and the naming. Let's move to look at why having a step-by-step expert system provides clients with a clear success pathway. Having a signature program or a core offer doesn't mean you can't be flexible in your approach working with a client, but having a professional methodology, including visuals, tools, templates, checklists, and so on, gives you and your client a clear and intentional step-by-step process and confidence in your ability to deliver on your promise. The customer wants to feel they will receive great value for money, i.e., when the value of the result you get for your client is matched with the price that they pay for it. Unless you're brand new and don't yet have your working methods clearly defined, you'll undoubtedly have some kind of system for how you deliver your service, whether you're aware of it as a tangible process or not. iSuccess as a framework is intended to enlighten and educate so clients are equipped to know what to prioritize and can select and implement the best tactics to move forward without the usual stress, indecisions, and overwhelm. For instance, say the problem a business owner tells me they have is poor sales. Well, that's quite a broad problem. The client may incorrectly assume that sales techniques or team performance is the issue. If they went with that as a solution, they'd be investing time and money training their sales team. Next week, I'll be talking through a business diagnostic based on the iSuccess 7 dimensions and 14 elements within it. And you can use that to self-evaluate as a first step to improving and transforming the alignment and balance and efficiency of your business. It's a flywheel model you can use to accelerate each stage from getting clear to getting clients and from systematizing your operation to scaling for your next level income. I want to turn now to why packaging your offer is so important. Bear in mind that your brand identity is more than the practical value of what you do or the things you produce. It's also that representation of your core values, your beliefs, and your personality. This goes beyond typical business mission statements. Your brand identity exists to solve a specific problem, but it's also about making people feel a certain way as they interact with your brand, as well as when they work with you. I believe the raison d'etre of a service-focused business is usually extremely personal to you as an individual. Au contraire to the line in The Godfather, it's not personal, it's business. More often than not, what you do is something you're passionate about as well as good at. Certainly, if you started in business to help people and have an impact on people's lives, then success and a sense of achievement in your business is super personal. Aligning with your purpose is a particularly important business dimension that you ignore at your own peril, because building a successful high-end business really does start with you. Whether you're running solo or you've started up as a small firm, a CEO, director and manager, not only do you set the direction of the sail, you must also design the boat and steer it forwards. And that begins by naming that one thing you care about most in your business that represents both you as an individual and the people you serve, your tribe and territory, if you like. It's about what you want to stand out for. So let's look through the 7 dimensions of success and why you need them all in balance. In my iSuccess framework, there are 7 dimensions of success for creating leverage in your business. You can see the full system on the cover of my book if you hop on over to Amazon and search Leveraged Consulting in the Digital Age. It's a circular flywheel diagram that represents the full leverage business system I teach and use in my work with clients, and iSuccess is the engine in the center that drives your business growth. I've included that diagram in the show notes for this episode, so if you like to follow along with a visual picture, go open that up as you're listening. I created a short link to it at flywheel.jallison.com. Success in business is not all about improving just the operational mechanics, the marketing or sales process, or the delivery. With iSuccess, we look at the whole flywheel machine holistically. And from the inside out, it starts with leveraging you. That's why we place the I at the center, because at the heart of your expert business is you as an individual. This establishes the inner I, or letter I, however you want to think about it. And the inner workings are the 7 dimensions that drive the engine of the flywheel. We'll dive into these in more detail in next week's Q&A with Dr. J style episode. But here's a quick overview. The first dimension, or lever, that we need to start the wheel turning is the aligning lever. This is all about clarifying your purpose, your why, your calling if you like, and we overlap this with the targeting lever, which is all about the people you feel called to serve, to help, and which groups are hungry for that help and willing to pay for it. Next, we move to the positioning lever and ways to promote you as an authority in that specific thing. This is critical so people can not only find you, but also see you clearly as the go-to expert when they're looking for that specific thing. And closely linked to this is how you show up to them and how attractive and relevant you are. For this, we need the branding lever. Unless you need to pivot due to changes in the market, your highest priority is to define clearly your individual expert brand and craft your core message. After this, you can build on it, adapt or refine it, whatever's necessary for you to stand out in a crowded and competitive marketplace. This aligning, targeting and positioning effort will be of massive benefit to how you market and deliver that thing you do, and will put you in a much stronger position to innovate on strategy and develop contemporary delivery models. Once you're aligned, targeted, positioned and branded, you can see how much easier it is to work on your pricing lever. People find it so hard to decide what to charge when clearly you want to charge what you're worth within the price range of what the market will stand. Think about the result you deliver rather than the activity that you do. That's going to really help you to set a value for money figure around your service or program. Now you have everything you need to take your product to market, test out the offer market fit, and if it's good, you can work on improving your efficiency through the final 2 dimensions, the systematizing and scaling levers. Now, if you can visualize the iSuccess dimensions as a spinning top, each section is mutually reinforcing and creates a workable, dependable, and sustainable business growth machine. When the top is spinning, if it wobbles, we know we need to rebalance one or more dimensions. If it's steady, we need to find ways to accelerate its spin or at least keep it in perpetual motion with a regular flick. Those wobbles are what things feel like to you if you're feeling misaligned, stressed, or overwhelmed in your business. So let's look now to why appreciating the wider factors at play helps improve your success. Working towards a leverage consulting or coaching business requires you to appreciate the wider set of factors at play for you as an individual, as well as the tangible elements needed to grow a purposeful, profitable, and sustainable enterprise. When working on business improvement projects, rather than operational processes or digital tools, many of my clients discover certain personal attributes are actually what's holding them back, whether in their own work or as part of a team. And this often shows up well after the initial diagnostic is done. The bottleneck can be major or minor, but it may stem from limiting self-beliefs, stuck assumptions and bias, blocks or stress around money, or worrying about failure. For some of my clients, releasing the bottleneck has been more about getting that vital clarity on their unique identity and ideals. So we focused a lot more on the aligning and targeting levers so that they can move into positioning and branding with much more clarity and confidence. They've then gone on to become more focused and strategic and less overwhelmed with the day-to-day running of the business because everything's in alignment. And they even feel a sense of liberation, enough to take a vacation. All of us have varying attitudes to risk or a tendency towards perfectionism, procrastination, or overthinking. Let's be honest, all these things lead to a real struggle with making decisions. And that makes identifying and focusing on the most important things incredibly difficult. So this is really where iSuccess comes into play. So it's moving from concept to consulting and how it works in practice. Over the hundreds of business reviews that I've undertaken, whether in the private or non-profit sector, similar frustrations and problems come to light that have reasonably straightforward remedies with the right strategy, systems and support in place. Both my consulting work and iSuccess Business Academy programs are focused on helping organizations and small businesses to surface the root causes of these common frustrations and problems. We do a deep dive into the business design architecture, strategic planning processes, and revenue models that are potentially limiting momentum or growth. In some cases, the weak link is a lack of clarity around what they do, as I said earlier, but even people in business for years can start to feel uncertain because when the market shifts, they notice their lead generation isn't as effective or it's harder to get clients. And so from time to time, we all need to go back to the foundations and revisit those initial dimensions, particularly in changing times. For others, the barrier to growth is a poor sales process or inflexible service delivery model that's limiting their conversions or the ability to scale. Operational inefficiency may well be an area that's holding you back because it causes inconsistency in your client acquisition process, reduces your productivity, limits ROI, and so forth. And ultimately that's costing you money and creating headaches and stress. However, when you look at a deeper strategic level, it's often a limitation in the business model manifesting as an operational bottleneck. So remember that when revenue is down or growth is slow, consider whether the problem is an operational one or a strategic one. My business growth clients often tell me we don't have enough turnover to hire new people or outsource, when actually it's that their revenue model is limited, or their gross profit is insufficient, or their working capital model limits cash flow month on month. Now, this strategic review skill is actually my superpower. And when I first got started in my consulting practice, I built my business around my evaluation expertise, where you look at aims and objectives of a project or a program of change, design an evaluation to gather data and analyze against the intended and unintended outcomes, benefits, and impact, including social impact that's actually quite hard to measure in many cases. And this helps to see how the program and its constituent projects intended to deliver what it set out to do. The work taught me how to dive deeper to uncover the relationship between cause, what was done, and effect, what resulted. In many cases, I was asked to review operational processes or marketing activities, but more often than not, the underlying problems were strategic in nature. So what does this mean for you and your business? Well, first, remember there's no single fix or silver bullet, as we've spoken about before. You have to look at your business holistically to gain new perspectives on the design structure, codependencies, flow, and key metrics of the business, as well as seeing change and innovation as a process of continuous improvement. Number 2 is finding and fixing those critical levers in your business. And that's a strategic way to review your business architecture and look at where the constraints exist in each dimension of your business. This is exactly what iSuccess set out to help people with. And number 3 would be reviewing your business model on a deeper strategic level will mean better decision making on process improvements that identify the real root causes so you can open up your bottlenecks, let things flow faster and more consistently in a way that supports your desired growth goals. The secret to building a business that is not just surviving, but actually thriving and growing is to move beyond only tweaking the day-to-day problems you see in front of you. It's also about building the capacity to shift tack as the market changes. In the uncertain world we live in today, this is a major success factor to staying in business. When you take a step back and look at your business in the wider strategic sense, you can see more clearly the influence of both local and global shifts in your industry. Customer behaviors, needs, and preferences are ultimately what should determine why, when, and in what ways you need to let go of older business models. This leads us to ways of leveraging the real big opportunities in the consulting industry in the digital age today and staying in front of the wave in the perfect storm. After years of writing articles and running workshops around the iSuccess principles and practices, I finally moved everything into a membership-based online education platform, which I accordingly named the iSuccess Business Academy. And that's now where I'm growing beyond my in-person, one-to-one consulting and virtual coaching work and practicing what I preach in my book, Leverage Consulting in the Digital Age. And if you love listening to podcasts, you might be interested to know that that is now out as an audiobook. Right, so I'm leaving it there for now. I'll continue this next week looking at how to identify and boost your most critical levers. I'll be sharing the diagnostic tool I use based on the iSuccess framework called the Leverage Test, and I'll do it Q&A with Dr. J style. So I'll go through the iSuccess diagnostic patterns that my clients get and what we did to fix them. So I hope you'll join me next week, and until then, have a fantastic week. Thank you for listening to the Leverage Business Podcast. Want to create leverage in your business? Did this episode provide some insights and ideas to be thinking through? If so, subscribe so you get alerts when the next one's released. If you want to learn more or would like help and support with building a leveraged business that achieves true freedom for you, then head over to jallison.com/podcast to find all the resources and links that go with this show on my website and to join our iSuccess community. And if you're enjoying our content, it would be great if you could pop into Apple Podcasts or the app you listen from and leave me a rating and review. Everyone makes a difference to improving our rankings. So thank you if you've done that already. I appreciate you. So hey, that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope you've loved this episode and have some great takeaways to be thinking through. I wish you a pleasant, productive and profitable week, and I'll see you again next time for another episode of the Leverage Business Podcast.